Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword. Gene is off tonight, so I'm alone without a leader for Sunday, July 20th, 2025. On this Air Venture Eve, I did do the crossword. It was a crossword by Michael Schlossberg, his 15th for the New York Times. Michael Schlossberg happens to be an internist living in Bend, Oregon, so if you happen to need an internist and you're in Oregon, make sure you drop by and you could probably talk about whatever ails you, as well as the crossword that he just created today. The theme of this crossword was interesting. It was telegraphed from the title, 10-point spread. And the reason it is so titled is because there were 10 italicized two-word idioms. The first word was a noun, and the second was always the word point. And the answer was a literal interpretation of that idiom. So, for instance, 23 across was Cardinal Point, and the answer was Sistine Chapel, which is sort of cute. Second, 27 across, Tipping Point, and that was a cash register. These were a lot of fun to figure out, by the way. They were such that I could sort of make out at least some of them. 51 across was Fine Point, and that was Speed Trap, haha. And 53 across, Plot Point, that was Herb Garden. 69 across, Match Point was Dating Site. We had Flash Point, 72 across. I found this one to be sort of tricky. It was Photo Booth. It's been a while since I've been around a photo booth. 85 across was Style Point, and that was a barbershop. 89 across was Low Point, and that was Dairy Farm. I thought that was very funny. 111 across was Sticking Point, and that was Tattoo Parlor. That was also right up there on the chuckle meter. And finally, we had 121 across Brownie Point, and that was Girl Scout Camp. So those were the themed clues and answers, and made for a great puzzle, I thought. There were, of course, many, this being a Sunday, other great clues and answers in the grid. One across the small screen's second golden age informally was Peak TV. I didn't really know that, so I had to figure that one out from the crosses. We had 13 across. Indian tourist mecca was Goa, G-O-A, which I think we've had before, but I didn't recall that. It has appeared a total of 157 times in the New York Times, as early as 1942, when it was clued as a Portuguese colony in India. We had 19 across, one working near home, and that was umpire. That was cute. 20 across was flourish, and I was thinking of some sort of a musical flourish like tra-la-la, but they meant flourish in the sense of thrive. And now I know. 21 across was wait for it, finished. And so I wrote, I am done. It turned out the answer was and done, which I guess also makes sense. 13 across, this great challenge. Let's do this. And it was game on. I momentarily forgot this woman's name, a philanthropist blank French Gates. And I had Melissa Gates, and then realized, wait, that can't be right. It was Melinda Gates. I guess hearing the word French as part of her name sort of threw me just a little bit. We had 17 down, author of The Princess and the Pea and the Ugly Duckling. That was Anderson, and that was spelled Andersen. My first attempt, I was ending in S-O-N, and that was one of the places I had to clean up before getting to the happy music. Coincidentally, I also had the same sort of problem with 38 across. Father of Transcendentalism, and that was Emerson, which I'm not quite sure why, but I spelled E-M-E-R-S-E-N, because I wasn't sure about 39 down, the common lampshade shade, and that was ochre, O-C-H-R-E, but I had it as E-C-H-R-E for a bit, and so I had to backtrack there as well. 30 down was, I'm going to find 30 down eventually, race with an anchor. And I thought, like it was a regatta, which of course didn't fit. I only had 5 letters. Then I thought it was a rally. That sounded like a kind of race, but it was a race with an anchor. And of course, regatta, they probably have anchors, I imagine, in boat races. But in any event, it turned out to be relay, that kind of an anchor. Next to that, we had 31 down, brunch station offering. First I thought omelet, because that's the only thing I can imagine getting at a brunch. And it would have fitted, except all the letters were wrong. Then I thought about creme, C-R-E-M-E. Not quite sure where I was going with that, but the correct answer was crepe, C-R-E-P-E. We had the amusing 41 across, what makes a twister twistier? And I spent a lot of time on that before realizing the answer was an eye. So that was very clever, Michael, from one Mike to another. 44 across was really, really, and the answer was ultra. I like that one a lot. 48 down was Star Trek II, the blank of Khan. Of course, that's the Wrath of Khan. That was the one gimme for me. I was able to answer that faster than any other clue. Probably I could answer that faster than any other clue the New York Times has ever thrown at me. I'm a fan, as you can tell, of the Wrath of Khan. I didn't know the name for this. Airport sign carrier 49 across was a meter. I mean, I guess you have a meet and greet. You have your greeter. You can have your meter. Spelled, by the way, M-E-E-T-E-R. Let's see, 65 across was Supergiant, and that turned out to be Star, which I thought was sort of cute. And then 65 down was it's literally inflated in the kitchen, and the answer was souffle. So that was sort of cute there. 79 across, I found this quite interesting. Mary Westmacott for Agatha Christie, alias. I guess if you're Agatha Christie and you know that people are going to buy what you write no matter what, I guess there's a good reason for having an alias from time to time. I have not read any Mary Westmacott novels or short stories or the like, but I plan to investigate this after today's podcast. 81 across, bring up the rear was moon, haha. And then we also had 77 down, which was enough, and the answer there was ample. 93 across, I just like this phrase, sawbones in brief, and that was ordocs for operating room docs. And then 93 down was hot, 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 and the answer was on a tear. It took me a long time to sort of figure that one out. If Jean were here, I'm sure she could give full details on 97 across, Japanese pitcher nicknamed the Tornado, and the answer was Nomo. Unfortunately, I'm the only one here, and the only thing I can tell you about the Japanese pitcher nicknamed the Tornado was that their name was Nomo. We had the magnificent 102 down, suburban setting, ? And that was car lot. It's like, oh, that kind of suburban. And 109 across, that was lessons, and I figured it was going to be abates, A-B-A-T-E-S, and it fitted, except the correct answer turned out to be allays. So, there you have it, a crossword by Michael Schlossberg, again, just as good as all his other crosswords. And so, well done, Michael. And that is it for today. We, hopefully, will be back again with our cutting-edge analysis of tomorrow's crossword tomorrow.